Hello, Earthians, and welcome to the show. It's been quite a while since we've been here, but we are back in full swing, and we can't wait to show you what we have in store for today. So, my name is Aeon, of course, and joining me today is the man you all know, Linus, the brains and the soul behind ERTHA. So, Linus, say hello to our viewers, and are you excited to get this show on the road?
Hi everyone, I'm Linus and I'm really excited to show you all the new features we've added in ERTHA with the latest update. So there's a lot to check out. Make sure you dive in and explore everything. As always, we want to hear your feedback, so let us know what you think either here on the stream or on our social media channels.
All right, perfect. So before we get started, let me talk about what you should expect in today's launch event. So first of all, we will briefly go over what we've been working on, what to expect in the new update, and much more. Then we will hop in game where Linus is going to show the update itself, which is ERTHA Beta version 0.3. And after the showcase, we will start a short AMA where all of you will be able to ask questions right here in the chat. So I also want to give everyone a heads up. The game client itself will be publicly available for download tomorrow. That is because we still have a few quirks to sort out before launching it to ensure a smooth launch. So hope you understand, and tomorrow all of the necessary information about how to play the update will be provided on our social channels, so make sure to follow us at twitter.com/earthagame, join our Discord, which is discord.gg/eartha, and of course, hit that follow button here on Twitch so you don't miss any upcoming launch events. So, alright, Linus, let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about the biggest feature we are introducing into ERTHA Beta, which is play and learn. So, Linus, could you briefly go over what Earthians should expect when joining the new update and starting their studies for the first time in ERTHA?
Sure, Aeon. Well, ERTHA's play and earn system is designed to help players to level up their character while also getting to know real life skills in exactly real life. So it includes a variety of quizzes that gradually will show different skills which players can learn, and that's how we introduce different game features into the player's experience. So essentially everyone will be able to complete their quizzes on certain topics. Currently we will open all the quizzes for you to show. However, later on all the quizzes will be locked into certain hexes and you will need to travel to use them. So this is the time where you will be able to see all the different quizzes and all the different things that we have. Of course, it's just a start. We will add new quizzes going on, and I hope you will like it.
Yeah, so just as a heads up, basically we have a bunch of new study subjects for Earthians to explore, which include things like chemistry, mining, weaponry, vexicology, things like that. There are a lot of study modules that contain a ton of questions, a ton of different questions each, which basically will make Earthians be able to learn those subjects and increase their character skills in game. So what subject would you like to focus most on? What do you think? Like, what's the subject that your character is going to be the best at?
Well, it depends. Me, I really like to learn new things. So something like our new study on vexicology is really interesting for me to get to know of. But as a player inside a game, I would probably choose something like gardening or chemistry to be able to, build the items in game. So which I will need, or to actually get enough money to play it. But all of the studies help you learn different skills. So later on, when we will introduce all the economy inside the game, you will have your levels of different skills, which will then define what kind of jobs you can take part of and what kind of salary you can get for your energy.
All right, and so to touch as well about the ERTHA client. So as Earthians already know, we are introducing the desktop version of the ERTHA game, ERTHA Beta, available to everyone tomorrow. And could we just quickly talk about that? Because I also saw some questions in chat already. Basically, why was this done? Why was this choice made to move ERTHA Beta to the client version instead of having it on the browser environment as it was previously?
Yeah, so I was really excited to be able to show it on the browser environment. However, during our tests and during the feedback that we got from the players, it's since we want to have that experience of real metaverse where you can go to your first person view and walk around the city, then also introduce multiplayer capabilities where you'll be able to see other players, interact with them, interact with the environment that is around you. Well, simply browser is not capable yet to do such things, and only a client is able to provide us enough power in the computer to actually be able to do that. So it's not an easy decision, but well, I think, you know, all of the games that you play that you like usually are downloadable clients. So nevertheless, we are a crypto game, but we are still a game. So I think it should not be a big problem. But obviously, if anyone is not feeling safe, they can, you know, scan it with a virus, antivirus software, and that all should be sorted out. So.
Yeah, and I can add to that as well as the community manager. Basically, what I saw after we launched the ERTHA beta in the communities, basically, some people thought that maybe ERTHA was going to be a much more graphical experience than it was at first when it was launched. And the sentiment was that we should improve the graphic quality of the game. So to really do that, we must use the ERTHA client in this case, because on the browser environment, I'm pretty sure one of the big things is basically multi-threading for processors, because the browser can only use one thread, right? So basically, it's so limited to actually provide those good graphics on the browser environment that it's really just not possible up to some level. So it was really necessary basically to move to the client, and I'm sure the first thing you see in the client is going to be the graphical improvements, and I think all of you are going to realize just how worth it was to move ERTHA to the ERTHA client. So so we won't beat around the bush here for too long. We will show it off in just a few moments. So just as a last thought, so do you have anything to add before we show it off to the community?
Well, I'm sure that everyone is waiting really hard, so let's just jump into it.
All right, so before we do that, we will jump into a very short break to set everything up. So grab yourselves some water or some popcorn and stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss this. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go with ERTHA Beta version 0.3. So what you can already see on your screens is the desktop game client, which is one of the biggest changes we are introducing. So Linus will be taking the driver's seat. He will be logging into the game and will walk you through the update. So Linus, take it away.
Yeah, so what you can see is our desktop environment. Let's just log into my account and we'll see what we have now. Okay.
I hope everyone remembers their passwords because
Yes.
well, yeah, you kind of have to, you know, log in.
Well, obviously, you can create a new account if you want. So here we are in our globe screen. From what you can see, let's just jump into our first city that we have. I'm sure one of the first things that you can see that we have here is the graphical update, which is not very big, but it includes all the performance things that we can add into the game. And we also added some perspective in this view. We've added some more of the shaders, more of the shadows, and bloom and glow around stuff. Well, Aeon, I'm gonna just run around the city, and I'm giving the word back to you just to talk about the graphical stuff.
Yeah,
of the
for
game.
sure. So one of the big things we've also added is if Linus presses escape here, we've actually added settings for all of you to adjust basically the quality, the graphics of the game. So even if you have a not so good computer, you're going to be able to play Eartha on low or medium graphics. But this is ultra, and this runs pretty much perfectly on something like GTX 1060, or I think Linus is playing on RTX 3060, so it's a perfectly smooth experience, 144 hertz. Even if you have the monitor for that, you're going to be able to enjoy that. So we've added a lot of textures, we've added a lot of various bloom things like that, and also you can hear Linus walking around. So yes, we've added some sound into the game. You can hear his footsteps while walking around. The render distance has been increased drastically. So as you can see, there are mountains surrounding this demo hex. Things like bloom sun shafts, where you can see currently on the buildings. And a big change as well was adding grass. So if Linus walks to a grassy area, you can kind of see grass, and basically it's like the first iteration of grass. We'll still improve it, but it's still a texture. It moves around, so it's a much greater improvement than it was just a flat plane of green before. And also, as you can see there, another very, very big change that we've done is we've added terrain. So terrain is now possible to generate on hexes, and there are hills, there are mountains, there are valleys, things like that are randomly generated for pretty much once landowners will have access to their own hexes, it will generate the terrain for each hex. I think the area up north is much more hilly, and so if just go down, and I think to the maybe up. And if you could just show around,
here.
If you could just show around there, there we go. Like we have a few hills here and there. So basically, the whole graphical aspect of Eartha has been improved very, very drastically, as well as the water physics have been added, because these boats here bob around with the waves. So I personally love the graphical update the most. It's just kind of crazy how much we've been able to do between updates, and we'll be sharing some comparisons between version 0.2 and version 0.3 on Twitter later today. So, and as you can see, basically you can see the skyscrapers from pretty much anywhere on the hex. So the draw distance, the render distance is really quite large, and you can see very far away, which is just awesome to have, instead of seeing only a few meters in front of you and then everything cuts off. So so that's basically the graphical side, the graphical improvements we've done to the game. Like we talked about before, the biggest change is play to learn. So maybe Linus can go ahead and show off some of the studies we currently have.
Yeah, so we have a new button which you can see on the lower part of the screen. It also enables all of the studies that we have currently available. We will add new studies, and we will be able to give an experience for all our most active players to actually engage with creating new studies or adding new questions inside it. But let's jump into some of it, and let's start one. So since my character has already had some progress inside the game, so I have a level that is not starting from the first one, but usually the new characters will start from the first level, and then they will progress in the game. So for a beginner study, we have a fixed time, and we have to answer questions about different kinds of stuff around real Earth. So here we have a gardening study which asks me about mushrooms, and I know it might sound a bit strange, but the idea behind is that we are actually trying to find a way to connect the real world with the game, which enables the thing that when you spend time leveling up your character, you will also get knowledge that is useful inside the real world. So even from stuff like you will be able to go to the forest and actually recognize the mushrooms that are around there when you're able to, let's say, finish the gardening study in a master's degree. Let's jump into some other study like weaponry. We have questions that revolve around different kinds of weapons. You have to know and answer those. You will be able to, use your energy and use the time to learn it, and then it will depend. Your level will depend on it. So yeah.
Exactly. So you, sorry, go ahead.
No, sure. You can continue.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that basically, even if you don't know anything about the subject, for example, you know nothing about weapons, right? You just start the study, you see the questions that are presented, and, well, you have a choice, right? If you make the wrong choice, you should memorize to make the right choice the next time. So that's how you learn. You can study these subjects beforehand as well, but these questions are really a basic way, a smooth way to introduce a player to a subject, because basically you're just going to be answering questions, and if you get them wrong, well, next time you're just going to know to pick the correct answer, right? So I just wanted to add that even if you know nothing about a certain subject, you can just still go into the study and you can still learn just by reading what the question says and just by picking the correct answers. So
yeah, and all the experience that you gather while doing these subjects will represent your skills in the game. So for example, a gardening skill is really useful if you want to gather stuff from plants and then be able to create food in the game. And food is really important, since one of the things that we are adding in this release of the client is energy mechanics. And just to explain it to you a bit, is that energy is like time in real world. We have it in points, so every player gets 24 points per day. 8 of it is usually used for sleeping, so it's reserved for that, but you can use the leftover 16 ones for different things that you will want your character to do in the game. So for example, you will use your energy points to complete those studies. So each of those studies have an energy requirement, and when you start this study, it will use one of your energy points to do that. Yeah, so you will be able to try up to 16 different times per day at the moment. And later on, you will, when we release, the whole economy, you will have to use the skills that you've gathered while playing the study quiz to actually get a job, employ other people, and then create items, which will be NFTs in the game. So, yeah.
So I also want to mention one more thing. So currently, you start studying by just clicking the study button on the bottom left corner of the screen. But once the game actually progresses, more development is made, and more hexes are unlocked, we will be, of course, moving those studies to certain hexes in the world. So landowners of certain hexes will have certain universities that will provide certain studies for Earthians to study to. So basically, you're not just going to be clicking a button later on, you're going to be traveling in the world to that specific hex where that university is that provides you the study content you want, and then you're going to be studying there and well, I'm assuming living there as well. Oh yeah, and we've added honking. So yeah, if you run into cars, they honk at you now, because apparently Earthian drivers don't really like when people walk in front of them on this. Yeah, walk in front of them on the street. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things that I want to show you is the fact that we have some updates to the interiors of the game. So let's try to jump into one of these interiors right now. And here we have a telemarketing expert's office here. on the screen, and you can see that we have a crosshair on the center of the screen when I'm inside the first person mode. And you might be able to see that I sometimes have an interaction available in some of these objects. So this is just a little, thing that we are adding, like Easter eggs inside the game. You will be able to find more and more of those as we update the game, but it's possible to turn on those computers, change their screensavers, see the TV playing and stuff like that. So it's just a minor thing that we want to use, and you will be able to find more and more of these going on.
Yeah, it's basically like the first way to interact with objects, right? Because obviously you're going to be doing that in the full game, so this is like the first iteration of us introducing interaction with objects into the ERTHA beta. And actually, speaking of which, I think we should show off one of the other amazing features we have available for this update, which is the Kucoin integration, of course. So if Linus goes back to the globe, we can see that there is actually another hex opened up available to explore on the ERTHA globe, which is the Victoria Hex, which is a city in the Seychelles, where the Kucoin actual real life HQ is based in. So if we just quickly head over to the Seychelles, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm actually not sure. But there we go. This is the Victoria Hex, where the Kucoin HQ is based in. And there we have it. There it is in its whole glory. It's obviously the tallest building out of every single building in this hex, because this is like quite a small town. It's not really a big city, but the Kucoin HQ really makes it stand out. So if Linus could show around the Kucoin building, and we'll see how we take it from here.
Yeah, so you can see that we've added a Kucoin logo to the building, and it will have its own place here, and Kucoin will actually own this hex, so they will be able to administrate it. This is where their in-game operations will be happening. So yeah, later on you will be able to get to know which hex it is. It is, but it's on the Seychelles Islands.
Exactly.
So let's jump into the inner view of Kucoin office, and here we are. We are inside the Kucoin office, and here you can see we've added some of the spots for the workers of Kucoin who will work and do stuff when managing their own enterprise. We have a second layer, second floor here. Yeah, exactly. And one cool thing that I want to show you is that we have a cool screen here, which is the integration. And here you can see the real chart from Kucoin, which shows you what's happening with BTC USDT pair inside the Kucoin office. And we also can interact with it. You will be able to see what happens there when you interact it, when you get into the game. So yeah, here we have it. So we have a real life office from a real company inside our ERTHA Metaverse, and I'm really excited to let them join our world here. And what do you think, Heian?
I mean, I love the fact that we actually managed to integrate the live chart for Bitcoin inside the game. Like, not very many games have done that. Like, this is actually live. I think it's the 4-hour chart, if I'm not mistaken, either the 2-hour chart or the 4-hour chart. And it basically actually shows all the volume, all the trades that are happening, the price, obviously, the percentages where it either goes up or down, and you can just look at it, press F, and it'll instantly take you to the Kucoin website, which is the trading pair for BTC USDT. So you can just literally go trade Bitcoin on Kucoin from ERTHA with one click. So I think that's pretty amazing. If that's not a metaverse integration, then I don't know what is. That is just as best as you can get it to work. So yeah, I really love this fact that we are starting to integrate these sort of large brands into the game, and yeah, it's going to be pretty epic moving on the road forward. So yeah.
Indeed. So one of the things I want to talk about with this update, since we've launched a client here, we have a lot of, let's say, processing power here. So our goal here is to get the graphics even better than it is now. So we're our part of our team is working on a way to add more details into the world. So when we progress with the updates in the upcoming weeks, you will see more and more detailed stuff actually appearing inside of these hexes. And when we launch more of these hexes, they will look quite better than they were when we started this experience here. One of the cool things that you can also do is to look at what your character has here. So it's all being polished out also, but here you can see what I've picked up for my character. And essentially, we are redoing all the interface. Over the next updates, we will let you see different things that we are going to be adding. We are working on the wallet integration inside of the game, which will also help to bring the landowner update that landowners are possibly really looking forward to, which will enable everyone to, build their own hex in the way how they prefer it to be actually to actually be able to own different companies, buildings, houses, offices, and more. So yeah.
Exactly, wonderful. Yeah, and talking about the performance of the ERTHA client, like I really want to stress the fact that this is so much better performance-wise than just using the browser. Not even mentioning the better graphics, but even with these much better graphics, it runs much better on pretty much any computer than the browser version did. So yeah, this is like an improvement right off the bat. And I think if we could go back to the other hex, the first demo hex, I think we already have some newly textured buildings in there. So maybe we can just show one or two of those. I think the one on the right somewhere is new, or maybe up top. I'm actually not sure exactly where it is, but I think it's one of these ones next to the main road.
Let's see.
If you could just walk down the main road, yeah, like right here, and walk towards, walk towards the left. I think there's one, towards the left. I think we're gonna run into like a old type brick building. I think I can see it right there. Yeah, so basically this is gonna show how much more we're paying attention to the actual texture of the buildings and things like that. So as you can imagine, like the asphalt on the streets and things like that will also get an improvement. So this is of course still unfinished. This is like still a work in progress. So you can see a bit of clipping issues, but it's basically a completely different thing than the old buildings were. It has a texture. It obviously is built out of bricks, so you can just look at it from this side and then look at the other buildings, and you just see the massive difference. So that's what.
And it's just the start. We will be adding bump maps and stuff that will potentially will make the city look like it's never looked like before.
Exactly.
And one of the things that we are really looking forward to is to support mobile phones and mobile devices. So we will be releasing the client to iOS and Android too. So our the lower performance part that we are using is devices that are, let's say, 5 years old, to be able to run smoothly without any lag issues or performance issues at all. So this is our new low spot. Previous low spot was like 20 times less. So we had to cut a lot of stuff out that we wanted to actually put here. So we're gradually enabling things that we already had to actually support being able, since we have a lot more power available from clients that are downloadable into the devices.
Exactly, yeah. And well, we've mentioned additional hexes, right? So should we address the landowner update? Maybe you can give some input about what's going on with that and when Earthians could expect to actually generate their own hexes that they own.
Yeah, so we are working hard to be able to provide an ability for landowners to actually create their own hexes, which means that we are working on a tool that will enable you to actually work on the terrain and to actually place the buildings and the roads inside the game. So each city owner will get city elements already in their bot hex with the NFT that it's there. So when we will release the update, we will be able to give them houses, universities, training spots, offices, companies, and stuff that is included inside a city price. So that's one of the perks of owning a city inside ERTHA Metaverse, since we are going to really work to make the cities be really cool and fun places to be in for all the players. And we are working on the interface and on the tools, which you might get leaks on if you follow us on Discord. So we already have all the designs. We are just working on the back end of the wallets, of the placement of the buildings, and ability to change their locations, demolish them, create them, and stuff like that. So it's still being worked on.
All right, perfect. So is there anything else you think we should talk about, or should we just head straight into our AMA and let people ask us questions in the chat? What do you think?
Well, I see one question from the chat, which was, is the traffic that appeared on Kucoin graphic real time? So yeah, it's exactly, it's real time, and you can see what happens every second, from the game itself. So it's pretty cool. It's just the start of what we can do there, but just the fact that we can integrate it inside a game from that like real life experience, which you would do when you are tracking the price or wanting to buy or sell Bitcoin. It's amazing. We will probably add more pairs as some of the some of watchers of the stream pointed out that it would be cool to have ERTHA price there. Yeah, probably. Kucoin really wanted to have the first graph with Bitcoin, so we added it too, but there's no limit to adding more screens inside the office and adding more, even adding ability to change between different currencies there.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So I think our viewers could just go ahead and start posting questions in the chat while we still walk around the game, and we'll pick the most common ones or the most interesting ones, or maybe even the hardest ones, and we'll see what we can answer. Okay, so right off the bat, I see someone asking, when is the client desktop version released? So it's going to be released tomorrow. So pay attention to our socials. We will provide all the download links. It's going to be both for Windows and Mac. So keep that in mind. If you're a MacBook user, that's fine. You can still play ERTHA on your Mac. If you're a Windows Master Race guy, then of course you can play it on Windows. And yeah, and of course, since this is a beta, some issues may be expected. So make sure to let us know in the communities. Report the bugs you encounter, and we will take a look at them. We will evaluate them, and we will fix them. So yeah, just keep in mind that this is still a beta environment, and we're working on towards the full version quite quickly, to be honest. So yeah, just help us report the bugs, and we're basically going to be set. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's
exactly.
just.
So I also want to, well, get everyone to understand that we are building the game with you. We are listening to your suggestions. We are managing it in a way so that it would be interesting for us to play, including you, all of the viewers who are looking at this stream. So, please share your thoughts. We are going to read them, and if we really think that they are good for the future of ERTHA, we will add them. And keep in mind that all the beta releases that we are here are not really stable. They can have bugs, they can have issues. So that's what we want you to report to us, and essentially not be mad at us to have them still while we are at the beta environment.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, so I have quite a quick but a good question from Lord Omega 1. They want to know, will the ability to reassign key bindings be added soon? So, because he says not all of us use a QWERT keyboard. So basically, will it be possible for players to remap their keyboard keys soon?
It's a good question. You can also use not the WASD keys, but the arrows inside the keyboard. We will possibly add them into different settings that you can use here. It's not entirely our, the thing that we are focusing at right now, because our main focus is the landowner update with ability to place buildings and create your own hexes to be able to open more hexes for the players. But yeah, that's a good point. I will add that to our features list.
All right, perfect. Another good question. Will it be possible to use the skills in this update, or will we only be able to study the skill?
At this update, you will be able to study the skill. This is the thing that we want to test right now. We want to get feedback on, and you will be able to use the skills when we enable economy inside the game. So when we add companies where you can employ yourself or employ others.
All right, and another great question. What about language support for main communities? So like Portuguese language, Turkish, Russian, things like that. What do you think?
We really want to add that. A part of our focus is lying there also. I think we will have that with future versions, but probably the first thing we will focus on is how to actually get more players from those communities. And to do that, we will have to firstly launch our websites inside those languages. So this is probably the first thing that we will focus on when adding different languages. And later on, with more and more people joining who speak in different languages, we will add those languages inside the game client also.
All right, perfect. Okay, so another great question. Will the environment of hexes change based on the real world location?
Exactly. That's the immersive part that I really want to do, is so that if you would look inside hexes from different parts of the world, they would actually look different. So we are using real world information to actually generate them in a way that would be possible for the game to understand the different things, like whether they're if it's mountainous location or not, and how much water it has there and stuff like that. Later on, we are also thinking on adding different things, so like time from real world. If you would be looking at the hex which is inside a time zone that currently has like evening there, you would see it that it is an evening. So currently you can change the time the way you want to, but later on we want to add this to be a feature that is connected to the real world.
All right, and just to segue off of that, another question is, what's the next update being worked on? So I just want to say exactly this is the update being worked on, the landowner update. So basically, ERTHA version 0.4 should be the ERTHA landowner update where, well, I'm not sure if all, I'm sure Linus will have some input about this, but basically the first access towards landowner hexes. So maybe Linus can expand how we're gonna introduce them either step by step or all together.
Well, you know, there are different things that we are working on. It's not only the landowner update. We will also include different types of graphics there. We will do performance optimizations where we also want to launch, you know, mobile clients to check if they work or not. But the main focus is to actually have all the items available, all the geo terrain tools to edit it, to be able to well, add it inside the game. And I'm not sure that it will be the next update, since we might launch, you know, 3.5 version of it, but yeah, the 0.4 version will be the landowner update.
All right, perfect. Maybe if you have the chat open yourself, maybe just pick a few questions you think are good to answer.
Yeah, so I've seen a cool question if maybe we will enable users to import their own 3D models inside the metaverse. So currently we're not thinking about that because to make them really, let's say, performant inside a mobile environment, you have to have it, you know, not low poly, but like mid poly. And if we would allow any player to import any 3D asset inside, it could potentially break on different types of you know, devices. But we will be adding very big selection of different items, different buildings, different equipments, clothes and stuff, which are being worked on right now with new textures, with new graphical updates. So I'm sure that all the players will have enough to choose from.
Perfect. Any other questions you want to address?
Yeah, there's a cool question. The last one is, will there be any censorship over the land development? There may be some offensive contents added to the land by owners. So I imagine yes. However, building stuff will essentially use ERTHA tokens. So to build like anything you want from your own pocket and build something that would be offensive for other people is kind of weird for a player from my point of view. But you know, if we will see that some landowners will exploit that and do some offensive content, we will definitely need to moderate it. So we're thinking about it also.
Right, exactly. Also, another very cool question. Are we going to have different weathers in the game?
Yeah, that's a cool question. Since now you can see there are some fog and clouds going around the city view, we are thinking of doing different types of weather, which could be connected to real world information. But it's probably will be added when we will have the fight module ready, since I don't want to add features that would not have use. And if we would have a war module, the the weather there, whether it's raining, whether it's foggy or not, would really depend on your strategy, what you choose to do when you go to war. against another player or country versus country.
All right. So a question from Ghost. Will it only be city owners who get structures to place in the beginning, or will people who don't own cities get some as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. So city owners will get the items from us provided, while other landowners will need to get those items from the market. So that's the main difference, and you will be able to create it. I'm not sure if we will release all the hexes, if all of them will be available, but we will release them either way before launching the full game. So all of the landowners, not only city owners, will be able to place buildings, terraform the land, and do the different types of stuff there.
All right, perfect. So I think just a few more questions and we'll be wrapping this up. Do you see any other questions you'd like to answer in the chat?
Well, since I'm also providing some visual aspect of the stream, so it's I'm gonna need to read some more. So
yeah, go ahead.
Give me a few moments.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So, by the way, multiplayer inside the game is also being worked on because we have different teams working on different stuff. So the multiplayer stuff where you could interact with other players inside is actually one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. I would like to meet you guys inside these hexes and to probably do some stuff here, like maybe even cause chaos with the cars or like play with a ball or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's being in development at the moment, so I hope you all will like it. And there's a good question there. How do we decide which city gets a university? So cities, well, we have that information from real world. So we are looking inside on how to make it, as close to real life as possible. So if the city has a known university there, we will definitely be placing the university inside the city hex. And obviously, since not all studies will be available from any hex, it will be one of the attraction points for other players when they will look for specific skills they want to study. They will have to travel around the world and find the hexes that have universities that have those skills available. So it's one of the ways to attract other players inside your hex, which potentially will mean that more transactions will happen inside those hex, which could mean that you will be able to earn from those transactions as a landowner.
All right, perfect. And we've just got another question about the economy system part of the game. So how is it coming along, and when do you expect the volume of the token to improve?
That's a good question. I think the main volume of the token will improve when we actually release the economy where you could use that token in game. We are thinking of ways on how to launch it before we have the full game, so that the token would have more utility, which more utility means that the more token will be bought from the exchanges, and the token price will rise. So we are working on that, but since our main important thing that we're working on is the game, we really expect to, if the game will be interesting for you guys to play and you will help us build it the way that we all want to see it becoming, it will automatically increase, the token value if the game is good, if we get more players playing, more players will use the token and the token price will rise.
Exactly, makes sense. And just to segue from that, any burning of tokens? Someone wants to know?
Well, yes. But first thing that we will need to do is to actually make it possible so that players could spend the tokens inside the game. So when they will spend the game, the tokens will come back into our game wallet, which is used to, provide the tokens for the countries, for other aspects of the game, for like rewards and stuff. And if we see that that's the market has way too many tokens and we need to burn it, we will definitely burn it from the game.
Yeah, and I see another great question, what we've actually been talking about recently. Will ERTHA coin be the main currency of countries? So maybe you can provide a little bit more input about that?
Yes, we're still working on the political module on how countries will be able to evolve inside ERTHA. So since we don't want the game to be too complicated and too difficult, and if we release like 100 countries inside the game, if all of them from the start would have different types of currencies, it would be a little hard to understand what to do with those currencies and how to make them actually viable inside the game. So our goal now is to release the game in a way that the main token and main currency that would be used in game would be ERTHA token, which will in part also increase the value of the token itself. And when the country has enough players and enough infrastructure already played out to be able to level it up, they will be able to, create their own currency and then have it connected to the token at a certain exchange rate.
Exactly. So it would basically be the choice of some countries, right? First, they would have to get the industry level up, and then if the elected politicians and the the citizens of the country decide to do so, they could release their own token for their own currency for reasons they want. Basically, maybe they want to strengthen their own local currency and make it more competitive against the ERTHA token. Maybe it's because of some other reason, but it basically is going to be up to the players. And first, the country needs to be played in, and the industry level and the politics level. Well, basically the level of the country needs to be improved for that, right?
Yeah.
So.
And also, there's a good point in the chat. So yeah, if we don't add, every country having their own currencies from the start, it would be wise to, for example, if alliances are made between countries, it would be wise for them to make stronger currency inside the ERTHA Metaverse as an alliance, rather than having different currencies for each of the country there. So. Exactly. So yeah, that's a possibility that we are looking into. We want to keep the game as simple as possible, but have the flexibility of it being, a decisive game where you have the politics, you have the wars, you have the economy, where you can choose your path there, choose what you want to be, whether you want to be a scientist, whether you want to be a businessman or a politician or even the president of the country, So presidents and governments will be able to create more of stuff like currencies inside the game too.
Exactly, perfect. All right, so let's not stretch this out too long, and maybe let's just take the very last question in the chat, and then we can conclude the launch event. And just a reminder to everyone that this game client launches tomorrow, which is July 29th, so pay attention to our socials. The download link is going to be available there, and the instructions how to play, although I'm sure you can all figure out how to log into the game and play it for yourself. So yeah, make sure to follow us on twitter.com/earthagame and join our Discord, which is discord.gg/eartha. So do you see like the last question you'd like to take, or could you just take a look?
Well, there's a cool question about ERTHA and Moon interaction with the tokens. So well, essentially, as you know, eartha and moon will have different tokens, and that's kind of a different currency that will be also in the game, and but they will interact. We will have possibly a certain exchange rate for eartha to moon currency, or even you will have to use BNB as a currency that is converted to and from these currencies. But later on, since we have portals inside the game, they will let players to actually move resources, move items from eartha game to moon game, or from the moon game to eartha game, which is one really fun thing and very important thing that we are also working on to include. And I think that the portal owners, since we've already have all of them sold, are the ones that will see the possibilities of the people when they trade and they do interactions the fastest, since I think that a lot of gamers will be able to find ways to get a good resource inside the moon and then bring it back to eartha and then make money out of that, while also giving some money to the portal owners to make them be able to do that.
All right, perfect. So, would you like to take any more questions, or should we just conclude? What do you think?
Well, we will be able to answer more questions inside our social media, so I think we can conclude this AMA and continue if anyone will want to ask more questions inside Telegram or the Discord chats.
Yeah, perfect. So, any final thoughts to end?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. The desktop client has its own launcher. It always will update itself, so you will always keep the latest version of the client inside your computer or any other device. So I'm excited to show you tomorrow that, and can't wait to hear your feedback on it.
Yeah, perfect. I'm personally also super excited for the update. I can actually improve my character now, so it's really quite a crazy step to go from eartha beta version 0.2 to 0.3, where the game is like quite literally just fully playable now. You can log in every single day and you can complete the studies and you can learn stuff and you can walk around and yeah, so I'm personally super excited, and for the graphical experience as well. Yeah, go ahead.
And
sorry.
Ayan, let's answer one more question. So will there be mini game inside eartha, and will the casinos have a defined space? So this is the thing that we really want our community to work with us here. We are definitely going to have mini games inside eartha Metaverse, such that will enable you to increase the skills that are not knowledge based but like dexterity based. So we really are looking for ideas. We have our own, but we are still trying to, find the best ways to do that, which also includes mini games like, museums where you could show off your NFTs, let's say casinos where you could like try your luck and open up some, rewards that you have, like reward boxes or stuff like that. But if any of the our community has any good ideas on what could be included inside eartha Metaverse, we are really open to discuss about that and to find the ways on how Web3 world could collide with the real world and the game world here to create an experience that we haven't yet had here.
All right, perfect. I think that was the perfect question to end the AMA and the stream. So yeah, make sure to join us in our communities. We'll be answering some questions there today, tomorrow, and of course every single day. Pretty much we answer whenever we can, whatever we can. So yeah, again, thanks for tuning in. Have a great morning, day, or night wherever you are located in the world. And yeah, see you next time.
See ya.